And we're live from the res
with two dark natives. I'm Andre Dominguez,
Rob Chrisman in the house, cutting up Andre's house. And we are here with our special guest, Mr. Josh Craddock.
What up?
Hey, Mr. Two Braids himself is in the house.
Yeah. Loving it, man. Loving it. How was your trip over here?
You know what? Traffic is pretty heavy. Traffic is pretty heavy.
Heavy traffic.
Yeah.
The other side of the res.
Yeah. The rain's slowing everything down out there.
Hey, it really was. I was cruising up here, man. It was the freaking mountains. There's people they drive slow, and it was like blind right when I got on that freeway. It was like you could not see anything there.
Yeah.
It's because you're driving a car. You're from Sandsville, so you're driving a big truck, man. You have to park your car at the gym and walk home. I know you don't live on a dirt road, man.
I don't know how you made it out of the mountain in the car. Right?
I guess you stay in the night.
Nice.
So how you been, Josh? Doing good, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, just kicking it, hanging out. It's rainy weather. Just got all the kids inside and just taking care of dad stuff right now.
I feel it, man.
Dream.
You remember being that age? I mean, those of you who don't know, me and Josh, we went to school. We go way back, man. We went to school together. I mean, you know, at one point, we went to an alternative school for a year.
Yeah.
You know, and every day he'd be like, hey, you ready to go? Because his mom would come. She did the run, so she'd come pick me up, and his brother Shane would be there, and him, and we'd all be going down to Sequanda, the Indian school down there, and I'd always be late every day. They'd always joke, hey man, I would try, but you know, it's like...
This guy comes out of the house with one brush in his hair, hair all wild and fiesta.
No
maybe
socks.
no shoes.
Same chonies.
This is not like once a week, this is like every day. You know?
Man, your mom would get mad, be like, man, he's always late. Oh man. But hey, we did it, we graduated, man.
Yeah, you know. We did it.
Now our boys are that age, man. How does that make you feel old?
It's wild, man. It's wild.
How many kids you got?
Me, I've got 6 kids.
There
so
you go, man.
16.
Hey. 6 that I know. But you know, like my oldest daughter, she goes to the University of Texas. And,
Wow,
that's awesome.
That is way awesome.
So you know, I mean, yeah, it's wild. It's wild to be here right now and think where we're at.
Yeah, for real, man. It goes so quick, huh? That's how I feel. I feel like it goes so quick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel old, so.
You know, I think that's like a native thing, because I don't feel that old either.
Yeah.
I probably look old, but I don't feel that old. But then there's things that happen in life where I'm like, dang, dude, I'm old. Or when you are around young people, you're like, I'm old.
You mean like running or something?
Yeah. Hey, no joke. We were at Megathrow over the weekend, Parker.
Lord.
And, you know, I've always, even though I'm a big guy, I always prided myself on having cardio. Because even when I was big, I was running. Remember them days?
Yeah.
I'd be running the res. Everybody was like, you know, hey, are you all right, man? Why are you running? You know, back then no one was running. So
Night fire,
I was night fire, man. Check that six pack.
Yeah, man. You need to put up a picture of that.
Hey, dude, I had a six pack. I had a six pack for 2 weeks.
I seen it. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
But man, I was out there in Parker, and they were like, hey, I do contests or whatever, and it was a bird singing gathering and everything. So yeah, you know, I'll get out there and do my thing. I like to dance. A lot of times I'll sit there all day, and it's like my one chance to get up, you know, to get movement. So it's like, I'll get out there, you know. And then it motivates me. Then I feel the vibe, and then I want to dance the rest of the day, and it's all cool. But man, I got out there, and they're like, all right, we're going to go. And they had this young dude from Yuma, Orlando Jefferson, is out there doing some T-Pie songs. And he sang one. You usually get one, you know, when you're hopping. They're like, all right, sing him another one. And I was like, ooh, okay, there's 2 songs. Every group's been having 2 songs. So I'm letting it go. Boy, I had my hops, man. I was flying. I looked like Air Jordan or whatever.
Oh, man.
But I had these boots on. You know what I mean? So by the end of the song, you know, I was like... You know, and it's not like I could sit there. I was sucking air, man, and I had to go straight warrior, bro.
Yeah.
Straight warrior. I didn't want no one to know I was about to die, but I was like out of breath, dude. I was like, I pass out. And then they were like, oh, it looks like a tie. You know, we're going to have another song. And you know what else?
What age group was that?
Yeah, it was like 29 to 40 or something like that. So like all of us we're kind of young. We're not old, but we're not young.
In between.
But I swear, I think everybody had the same thought. When I looked around, we all started laughing. It said the third song, and we were serious.
Yeah.
And we all looked at each other, and I think we all kind of went like, "Dang, dude! Like 2 years ago, maybe even last year, that would have been easy."
It's like the Palo Alto Man, huh?
Yeah. The third song. They sang that song, oh man. I swear, shook hands, walked off to the side, sat in my seat, man. I was wiped out.
You should have seen this guy's face, man.
I was so close to calling 911.
You see how dark he is right now? He was pale.
Someone gave me water, I just poured it all over myself, man.
Pale face, huh? Did you make it throw name?
But it's like you have, you really do have that, like, that's a moment where you feel old, dude.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that, like, you talk about, like, the Ironmans at the powwow. I've been to men who are like, all right, 10 songs in, 12 songs.
Yeah.
You know, they're pushing. These guys are out there.
Yeah, 30
and, you know,
minutes, 45 minutes.
they're doing the little extra whips because their feet ain't moving no more. And then they go floating off the side and everyone keeps focusing on who's going to win it. They never look at the guy to the side, man. Dude's over there laying on his back, his muscles broken, he don't care.
They got
dying.
EMT over there.
Yeah. I remember I went to Saquon 2 years ago. They had one, and they had like some, I don't know, maybe 14-year-old boy up in there smoking these older dudes. I was like, that's mess.
Well, that's like ruined for a week after that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember having those bustles on and turning it up?
Oh yeah.
You think you can do it right now?
Really slow, yeah. Yeah, I think I remember the last time I danced probably had to be like maybe like 10 years ago. It's been a long time, but
Really?
you know, I got out there and you know, around our area there's not very many fancy dancers, so got out there and good old Randy Edmonds, you know, all right, let's do fancy dance expedition. So we do exhibition. You know,
contest is on. Here comes Josh.
It's only me out there, so I'd do my one song and go all out, like, yeah. Randy Edmonds comes on and says, all right, let's get another one. Keep it going. And I was that guy that was in the back almost dying, you know, sucking air. And
everyone's cheering, you know.
Yeah. Seeing chrome flies, you know, I felt I was gonna drop, you know. I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Hey, it's all fun and games, but one of these days someone's just gonna fall out, man. Just completely fall out. I hope not. I hope I'm not there to see it. I'll be forced to laugh. Hey, that was almost me. I know it's not me. If it's me, man, I swear, my boys are old enough and big enough, they better carry me out of there, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Look like I'm a gladiator, like Russell Crowe getting drug out, you know, being a gladiator. Yeah.
You'll be all over Instagram, though. They'll record all over. They'll be recording first, though. That's for sure.
But you know what? That's that personality of the dancer, because, like, you know, way back when we were teens dancing, it was like, I was a little chubbier, you know, a little slower speed, so Northern traditional. And then, like, your brother, you thought he was real smooth and suave, like, oh, he's going grass. And here comes Josh. He was like the in shape one of all of us. He was slim. He was. Hey, no.
It was.
But he was the fancy guy. Yeah.
Those were good times, you know. Those were good times.
How'd you get into that?
I got into it through my Aunt Vera. Started taking us around it. You know, we'd go to check out the powwows, but started getting us around it and just got us going. You know, like drag us out there during intertribals, and then got my mom and our aunts. You know, got us all. There's my cousin Adam and my brother and my little sister, and you know, we were all right there, and they just got to working on outfits and, you know, regalia, and like, all right, here you go. And yeah, it was good. It took me a lot of places, and like, it's a good community to be in, you know? It's a good community to be in.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Then you were on Powwow World Tour, because I remember, like, for about, I don't know, man, a few years, every powwow was like, head young man dancer, Josh Craddock, head boy dancer, Shane Craddock, you know, I got in on a couple of that. Adam was in on that.
Yep.
You know, it was like we were holding it down for a while.
We putting in the work every weekend, and then you know eventually the people were asking you, hey, you can asking you to be a head staff, and like, all right, you know, all right, cool.
You remember the cardio that comes from that? Because some people don't realize when you're head staff, you're expected to dance every song.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, and that's you know we were taught that way is, you know, you're there, you're to dance every song. You don't take your bustles off to the very end, you know, like you're the leader out there, so you know you're expected to be out there.
I had a question about that, like, so, because I, you know, it's not, you know, I'm not really familiar with all that, the fancy and stuff like that, but like you talked about that cardio that you have to, you know, obviously you have to get to that point, right? You know, so do people do things like on days that aren't powwows, just practice.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah, you gotta train.
You know,
that's
there's
what I'm
guys
saying,
that are out there today that are dancing all the powwows and doing contests.
Just
Because, you know,
train
contests,
nonstop.
there's big money out there.
Yeah,
so,
some big
you know,
money.
so there's a lot of people, there's a lot of competition. So, yeah, those guys are doing cardio, they're doing gym, you know, they're doing a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of stuff to stay in that shape.
Yeah.
Yep, because then, you know, they're out there and it's gonna come down to cardio in the end,
Yeah,
you know? I mean,
it really
you
does,
can have
man.
all the fanciest moves, but you can only do it for 2 songs. You know, the guy that can do it for 4 songs is gonna win.
2 push-ups, 4 songs.
Yeah.
2 push-ups going in.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, yeah, it's out there going strong. You know, I haven't been out in the powwow scene, you know, go visit them, but it's been a while since I've danced. You know, my kids are younger now, so I'd like to get them back in and maybe get back out there, you know. Yeah, it's something like around here, you know, people are like, oh, it's not, you know, our way, but I think powwows came around to kind of like keep a tradition.
Yeah.
You know, when at a point in our history when, you know, it wasn't allowed or anything, so, you know, I mean, from my understanding, you know, it came about from, you know, that's why you have all tribes involved, you know. It was something when we didn't have nothing, you know, after boarding schools and, you know, all the stuff, all our negative history, you know, but so it's still around and, you know, it's a good community. It's good for us, you know, something that our family was involved with us every weekend, you know, kept us out of trouble, you know. We knew we couldn't be doing bad stuff before we went there to go dance because we held it as, you know, as a sacred thing and, you know, and respectful thing to do. So, you know, taught us a lot of respect and everything like that.
That's the one thing that I think really that when people are like, oh, it's not our way and they want to get away from it, but it's like there's so much goodness that comes from it. It's really like an indigenous mentality that we all have, that like level of respect for our old ones, ancestors, but the old elders that are sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, a way of respecting yourself when you're out there. These are just great things every culture should have or does have.
Yeah.
And a powwow, I think, brings it forward.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can see that from a lot of the youngsters that are in there. And you know what also is like a level of accountability. Because, like, you go every Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, man, we would just go every week, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And the moment you start getting involved in something you probably shouldn't get involved in, man, people were there to like, hey, you're doing that? Or what are you doing? You know? And I feel like for a youngster, especially teenager, when you're kind of like at that age where you just kind of drop off, there's a lot of accountability they put on you.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's very easy, especially being young. Because I've gone to all the powwows, I just haven't been, you know, obviously into that. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing as far as, you know, especially with young kids. You know, I'm not too old myself, so I just remember growing up, going to all those events, going to all these powwows, especially our powwow trail that we have going on. But not only, you know, it keeps you in check, but you see the same kids that are also doing that exact same thing. So you build like that relationship with all those people around there and that family, whereas everyone's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
People aren't off to the side. Well, maybe some people, but you tend to be, you know, especially if you're dancing or you're involved in that, you're obviously in the spotlight. So you know, it's hard for you to veer off.
You develop that powwow family, you know,
Yeah.
that family that you have there that, you know, you see those same people there weekend after weekend and you get to know them. They get to know you, they get to know the kids, they get to know the parents, you know, so you become a big family and, you know, that's where you're able to like let your kids go run around because all these people know, like, I know those kids, those kids, you know?
And like especially in the Native community is you know, there's that certain, you know, that respect that most kids, you know, have, whereas like, you know, and most adults know that, so like they're quick to check, you know, kid, they know like, hey, you're not supposed to be around here, you know better, and then the kid will, you know,
respond like, okay,
he knows that, he
right,
understands that, so
you know, like everybody there, even though you're not blood related, like, oh, that's my auntie or oh, that's my uncle, you know, because, you know, they're able to put them in check and be like, hey, get over there, or you're not supposed to be here. You know, tell them things, you know, and they respect them enough. So I think it's a great thing, and you know, for me, like growing up, you know, I didn't always have like our bird, you know, I didn't get that till even later. So that was something for me to be like to hold on to and grab onto, because I mean, when I was younger, bird wasn't prevalent enough. They didn't do it in the powwows. They did maybe like an hour or something. They did a short set. And then really just did it. I only seen it for, you know, like people who passed away or something like that, you know. So that in itself has come around a lot big way.
Yeah, I feel like the powwow, like when we were doing it, it really was fulfilling a need because like what we were like middle school, high school going through, and like at that age, I feel like you're really proud to be Native. You start to really you have that pride, and you want to wear your hair long and wear the shirt, and you kind of have your own language, depending on what res or area you're from and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good age to get, if kids aren't involved yet, to get them involved in the culture. But there wasn't all these gatherings we have now. Now it's from May 5th in Paula, they have the Koopa Days all the way, going through. There's San Pasquale and there's what is it, Saquon, and then all the different gatherings that are around our areas. In October all the way, even you got the river tribes, you got Quetzon, and you got Park or the Expo out there and Mojave Days. You have all these gatherings are just like if you want. You can go every weekend to a gathering. Yeah. But when we were coming up, most of those gatherings hadn't started yet.
No,
they'd been like this but 2-generation layoff where like Bird was active, Peon was active, but there wasn't all these gatherings, man.
Yeah, it was a small.
We were there for the first Viejas. We were there for the first Campo when they were getting that together. I remember we went up there and played there for that.
Yeah, and within that too. Now with that, we're developing that same. We're not developing, but revisiting it again, because like you said, there was like a generational gap. I mean, my mom went to a boarding school. Her dad and mom went to boarding school until they met, and and so during that time there was kind of like, my mom didn't learn the language because her dad didn't teach her. So there was that gap. So we didn't learn it from her. So it was kind of like. Coming up, we just had to find it again, and fortunately for us, there was those certain, people in our area that held on to those songs, and now they're just getting a bigger and bigger, following and our people. So,
You know what I remember your grandpa, one of the coolest things, may he rest in peace, but what I remember was like being a young kid at the award ceremonies, like at Alpine, elementary or whatever. And I never really got those awards for some reason, but I remember being there, little kid, on time. Yeah, I probably missed it. But I remember being there, and he would always show up in a ribbon shirt. I thought that was so cool because he was on the Alpine board, and back in those days, that was, we didn't have industry and stuff. We were still the poor, Indians, and everybody made fun of us for being this way and that, whatever it was. But he walked in, and I always felt like that was I was really proud of that. That he would wear a ribbon shirt. Everyone's in their suits. And he wore a ribbon shirt, so everybody knew that he was indigenous, he was Native, and he just carried himself in that way. And he did a lot in his day, but I think that generation, like they got it, you know what I mean? Like there was an inner pride where they had to deal with so much stuff.
Yeah.
I always say like, the outside world has the greatest generation. They talk about the generation that went through like World War II and all of that, that built America and all of this. But I think as Natives, like we've had like a series of greatest generations, because if we had a weak generation there, we wouldn't be around. We wouldn't have anything.
They had to be.
And I kind of think like our generation now is okay, but I feel like those guys, I don't know if they were the last greatest generation or maybe we are a good generation, I don't know, but those dudes had something a little bit more, I think, your grandpa's generation.
Well, they're kind of, I think they're forced to. They're forced to do it, forced to hold on to it and survive, really, you know. They're surviving, and so they're just strong people, because their parents before them had to be strong people to make it through what they went through. And their parents before them for, 400, 500 years,
It's miraculous we still have a language, right? It's miraculous we're still here. We still have a culture. We still have something to teach our youngsters, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty miraculous. You think about
something that I talk, when I talk to people, not from our area, from maybe east of here, like in Arizona or the plains areas or something like that. Even my grandma's raised, she's from Mescalero. You go over there and like there's a lot of people that, like they're full and they're native speaking, they speak the language and they retained it all. And I think for us, it was really, really hard, because we had the Spanish contact, and
we're front lines over here, man. Right next to the coast, right next to the cities.
On the coast,
We're not tucked away. We're right here. We're front lines.
We've been overthrown, multiple times.
Yeah.
And somehow come out of it and survived and retained what we have, what very little we have, but we have it, and are building on it now, because from now on, it's like as long as we keep this going, it's only going to grow with our kids.
Yeah, we have a good base. We have a good base, and it just needs to be, like you said, let it grow. And there's a lot of things that right now in our communities that are allowing that. Like you said, there's bird and all those things. They, even powwows itself that you were talking about, they weren't available back then.
Yeah.
We have this base where now, even in my lifespan, there was only so many gatherings and stuff, and now like almost in our country, there's almost every res has one. MG started one up, 2 years ago or whatever.
That's a flourishing gathering right off, man.
Yeah.
Just shows where our culture is at, where everyone's boom, we're all going to MG. And that's way out there, man.
Way out in the mountains.
It's good gathering.
No cell phones, so there's nothing out there.
Manzanita's bringing back their gathering
this year.
I think everyone's talking, rumbling about it, like, hey, it's coming back, which, they lost one of their elders out there a couple years ago, and that was a big hit for our nation. Yeah. So to bring this back, I feel like that's healing for that community. And I think that's gonna rock. I think it is.
It's kind of like it's a revival for us.
Yeah.
In our area.
Yeah.
And it's good to see it. It's good to see it. Your boys sing.
Yeah.
You're seeing all these young kids playing Peon, and you're like, wow. Because when we were growing up, there was just
we were it, man.
Yeah.
We were
there was only a few of us.
Yeah.
There was only a few of us, but. You're seeing
which meant we were the best. That's how I thought. No one could beat me.
It's easy to be number one than number two.
Yeah, man. All this competition, all these kids trying to beat me. God dang.
Yeah, right. You're like 20. How many people out in Verona?
Oh, like 20 teams show up. It was like it used to be like 14. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. Like,
it was 10. Now
we gotta play now.
Yeah.
2 days. We're gonna be here all night.
It really beat some of these kids at some of those hand games.
Yeah.
But no, literally, like I don't think people realize, like in Viejas, our belly here, when we got, when we started playing Peon, we were the only team.
Yeah.
We were the only active playing team. John had kind of, he had, I think it was a morning maybe or something, I don't remember, but I remember he had slowed down around that time.
Yep.
And it was just us, you, me, and it was Adam and Sammy. We were rocking it. Yep. Man, we were just beating everybody.
Yeah.
We beat everybody, and then John would walk up behind us, and then we'd lose. This guy's bad luck. No, I'm kidding. We remember we lost like every game, dude. We were terrible for a while. We're just humble though.
Hey, I would jump out there, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah." First shot, drop all 4 of them. He's all, "Oh yeah, we got this in the bag." The rest of the game, we're getting knocked out 3 at a time or something.
See, that's round nowadays, but he's got a better team.
No, I was like, I think we should shoot to the left. No, there's like to the right. I'm like, yeah, do that. And we win. Yeah, I've learned that, man. Make sure you play with some good guys so if you suck, they carry you. Yeah, man. But that was an interesting time it came up like that, though. The gathering coming through and just the growth of the bird in our area and all around. And, Peon, our hand games. It's pretty exciting times. Like, that's kind of cool now to see it flourishing so well. To the point where, like, my kids, my boys, one's 16, the other one's 14. They're gonna both be, they're turning the next week. One's turning 15, and in a couple days, and then next month my other boy's turning 17. But it's like, that's their weekend, like their social hour, man. They hang out with all the bird dance girls and the bird singer dudes, and they have their Peon teams. It's cool, man.
Yeah, it is. That's when we did the powwows and then gatherings like that, that was a good time because. You're doing intertribal relations,
Yeah.
Meeting those people.
100%.
And that way when you travel there or something, or they travel here, you see each other and you'll see each other in just odd places. And it's just good to see like another native person like, oh, hey, what's up,
Yeah,
that's a cool part.
100%.
Seeing people in different areas, get to know people, the Kauias, the Saino, and all these different tribes out there. And it's I think that's probably one of the cooler parts, actually. You feel like you're at home, like your home starts to grow a little bit. Yeah. I mean, this is our home, but you go over there, they treat you well, whatever, you're respectful to them, and it's cool to know people in different areas like that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
I like that, man.
How many people did we in that picture, man? See, because you're talking about jumping out. So where were we at? Mega Throw last week or last week. It was a 4-hour drive. Pretty much a 4-hour drive. Depending on how fast you go. But we took a picture of like just, basically a lot of the youth, right?
Yeah, just our little crew that goes.
Just a little crew.
Not even everybody.
No.
Not everybody can make it. There's a couple people that were, still at the hotel, things like that, and some people didn't go out to Parker. But most like there's a good crew there.
How many people do you think there's in that?
I bet you there's like 20.
Yeah, like 20 deep.
20?
It's just, Yeah. You're talking about that family, man, is we've built that in it's just crazy. 4-hour drive. I mean,
and it's only going to get bigger, just because you got people that are coming up, and I mean, people that are hitting 18, 19, 20, early 20s, whatever, they're soon to be having families too, and then they're going to be going out there too, hopefully, and then she'll just be ingrained into their kids to be like,
exactly.
yes,
it's going to be normal.
So we do,
Yeah.
So we do.
Because I think like we have kind of a unique experience because like we're both Apache, like my mom's dad's Apache, your mom's Apache. Shout out to White Mountain and Civic Q. Danessa's like that too. Her dad's not that way. Muscalero for you, and so we have family to go visit. You know what I mean? So we grew up Kumyai, knowing all this stuff, but then like, we're gonna go see our Apache family. You go out there, and I remember being a little kid, and they walked in a cow, and they took that cow down right there, and they skinned it, and they butchered it, and that's what we ate for the next few days. That and those like now I see like crowd dancing online or like people like filming and stuff. Seemed like it was real taboo back in the day, but there it was like at night, they had the fire and they're dancing.
Amazing.
And I just remember being young, going like, this is beautiful, man. This is their way, and I wanted to be a crowd dancer real bad when I was a kid, actually. I went out there and, but I was being raised in the Kumeyaay tradition, so I didn't do that, but I just knew it was beautiful, and to know I have family over there, and then ultimately to see like, there's other natives, and we're not all the same. Like, we know that as adults, but I think there's a point in your life where you have to kind of really see that.
Oh, yeah.
You hear people like, res life, or whatever. It's like, your res. Every res is different.
Some people are, screaming res life, and, but they haven't seen, they've
only seen theirs.
I traveled doing clothing company stuff and traveled all around and got to some other places. It was just really like, culture shock because, when I was growing up, we didn't have much here on the res, but we're close to a city.
Yeah.
We got stuff right there, and you get some other places and you're just like, wow, okay, it really throws you back a little bit and makes you humble. Makes you appreciate like,
resources aren't there for those guys.
We're screaming res life because, we're mashing around the res and having a good time. We're normal res life, but some people are really struggling hard, So yeah, I think it's good for people. That was good for me to travel and see that because, I know like people around my age and younger than me, and they never traveled. They've never traveled anywhere else, so they only have what we have here to go off of. And travel somewhere else and see something different, and you'll have your mind blown. You'll be like, I can't believe this is going on, and I can't believe this is going on in this country, really. Yeah, really just grow your brain. Really, you're like, it's a third world country in the middle of the United States, and we're fortunate, we're fortunate what we have, so.
Yeah, when I was young, my dad did a good job of that. He drove us out to Canada, to Alberta, Canada, out there, Saddle Lake, where like, Northern Cree and those guys are from, and the next res over, Good Fish, where I lost my shoe in Reed Lake once, long time ago. But, like going out that way, and his first cousin from San Isabel went out to Woononee way back in the day, and he married my aunt, and they had kids, and he kind of just stayed out there. So we had family in South Dakota. So we would travel to those areas, and we were all in the back of a pickup truck camper shell, sometimes like 10 of us in that truck, but it was just cool to like, let's get out of here. I run across a lot of, we took a kid with us this weekend, and it legit was like, I never left California before. Yeah. And I was like, what, dude? Yeah. I go to Yuma every few weeks, jump in. But I was like, man, that's terrible, it's what it is, but it really is, you grow your brain a little bit traveling around like that.
Well, you do. You get to see what's going on in other places, and, and you just are like I said, you look at it and make sure you take what you got, and you're humbled, and you're like, oh wow, like I'm complaining, but there's people living like like we did, when I was growing up, there's multiple families living in small houses, and it's not like that anymore, but it is like that somewhere else.
Sure,
sure. They're still struggling. They're still struggling, and that's why I think like these type of things, you got your podcast going and people got phones. Anybody can have a phone these days. Yeah. And I think it's an opportunity for like people to do something, like in places where there's no town nearby, there's no jobs, there's no nothing, but with this
create your own industry.
With this phone, you get a laptop and a phone, and you can do something. People do beadwork. Well, you can take pictures of that beadwork, and you can present it to tens of thousands of people now.
Yep.
You know, maybe
Put it on a shirt, start selling them, e-commerce, jump online.
maybe
You can.
make yourself a little income. You know, I mean, everyone's trying to make it in different ways, and you know, you got your talent and use it, and to have all these type of outlets, you know, like, you know, through the internet, I mean, you can reach so many people. Whereas before, I mean, you know, you had to go to a powwow, you had to go to an event or set up on the side of the road or something.
100%, like a big reason why we decided, we were talking about that. Yeah. And, you know, we were coming across people who had no understanding of like that there was, you know, California Indians or people down here in Southern California, or what our slice of being native is down this way. And we thought this would be a good forum to kind of like expose a little bit about us. That's kind of like why we do the Peon and talk about Bird a little bit, because, you know, that's unique to our area here. You know, that's how we do what we do. You know, you go to like other parts of the country and, you know, they have their cultural ways of being and they have their teachings, and and it's beautiful because what you do see is a lot of them are very similar. There's a lot of things that, you know, go together, but there is definitely like its own uniqueness per tribe, you know, and there's a beauty in that.
But the baseline is still the same, you know, culture and family and tradition, and there's reasons why it's all done, you know, and I think we're fortunate being raised, you know, that way that, you know, our elders held on to that kind of stuff, you know, to teach us, because, you know, I know growing up here, you know, we were taught respect and we were taught these things, and it was always a trip to me to be going to school in the city or something, and, you know, somebody's just like, oh yeah, well, I think I have a cousin over here, you know, and, you know, I just know,
they don't know,
they just know, they know their parents and that's it.
Yeah.
They don't know their other family. Their families live way over there. And to me, that was, it just blew my mind, because probably up until like 4th, 5th grade, all my friends were my cousins. I didn't have any friends that were not related to me.
Start getting down on yourself. I only have one friend or no friends. But you have like 50 cousins.
They'll
die for you.
Who's your best friend? Or, I don't really have best friends.
On the application, it says list someone. List someone who's a friend that's not related to you.
No job for me.
I don't know, man.
You start looking for the one that has a different name.
I'm telling the liars on this.
I was just talking to somebody about that like 2 or 3 days ago at work, how she was saying that she met one of her family members on like, I forget which side of the family it was, but she met a family member who she was that family member's only cousin, only first cousin, only first cousin that family member
unheard of on the reservation. In Indian country.
I think what I counted was like 22 aunts and uncles. Like aunts and uncles, like straight up 22. I'm like, I have endless amount of first cousins. Like,
and then you find these people who've never been to like a funeral and stuff because they have no family.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And it's like we just like sometimes like every weekend sometimes. But it's because we have big families like that.
Well, I think that's, you know, that's a unfortunate but fortunate thing, because you know, growing up and going to all these doings, all these funerals and stuff, and, you know, seeing that and kind of a weird way you get accustomed to it, kind of desensitized by it, but I found that in our way, the way that we do it, it definitely helps you, because you know, meeting people and knowing people, and they're going to their first funeral, and they're 25, 30 years old, and they're going to their first funeral of somebody of their family member.
Super close to them too.
Yeah, and they, you know, they don't know what to do. They're completely lost. Where, you know, I think with our tradition and a lot of traditions, native, you know, indigenous traditions, and, you know, death is part of life, and it's very close, you know, and it's always there, and sadly we see it a lot more than other people, but it also prepares us to deal with it in a good way, and to take it in and like, okay, you know, well, and I tell a lot of people this that are dealing with their very first time or something. I'm like, well, you know, in our culture, it's like, you know, they're not gone. This is not an end. This is just a transition. You know, depending on what you believe in, you know, but in my personal belief, you know, this is just a transition. You're just leaving your body behind, your vessel. But, you know, your soul's moving on, and we'll just meet each other somewhere out down the road. And that helps out. That helps out a lot to deal with these, you know, deaths. You know, I mean, I've had close cousins pass away to me, you know, and uncles and aunts, and, you know, and it's tough. But fortunately for us, we've got a community and we've got a culture that teaches us how to deal with this. Because I've seen people, you know, that they're just they just deal with it, or they don't deal with it.
Yeah.
And they just go to the bottle or drugs, or lose their mind, just focused on that this person is gone.
Yeah.
And I think that makes our community strong.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is our belief, and we deal with it. You know why? Because it happens to everybody. No one's getting out of this.
Well, on the flip side of that, why is nobody getting married? I swear, like everybody I do know on the outside is like, yeah, I've been to so many married. I'm like, I've been to like 3 weddings.
I've been maybe 2.
One of them, anyone goes to the wedding, you just go to the reception.
We're res married. Hey, that's how I was for about 5 years. Had kids, we were living together.
Yeah.
Like, we're actually supposed to do something?
Do we have to do anything?
Yeah.
Is there anything more than this?
The insurance starts creeping, man. You better say, hey.
Oh yeah, that too, man.
Dude, boy, I was married like 2 weeks in. If I would have messed up, hey, I would have been in trouble. Oh man.
Now that I think about it, I've only been to 1 marriage in my whole damn life.
One wedding, man.
It was like, some majestic wedding too.
Yeah,
A native one.
what is that, man? Are people don't get married or?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're still working it out.
And we all have a cousin who's been married like 4 times.
Oh yeah.
Hey, for real though.
Yeah, I won't talk about
Lay a guy
our
you going to
chairman.
marry.
Hey, no.
It's only your second date.
Lock it in. She's a good one.
Man, oh man.
By the way, I'm married. Hey, I'm that out there. Everybody knows.
Where's that at?
I'm married. I'm a Marine. We'll come off.
I'm engaged. I'm working my way there.
Hey, I missed one suggestion, man. When you get married, get a size bigger on your ring. Because I have not been able to take off my ring since I put it on the first time.
Hey, let's see that 10 line.
It's a 10 line, boys.
He's lying.
It's shiny. It's shiny. But like I was in decent shape, and then got married, got comfortable, and then I just couldn't take it off.
She cooks good fry bread.
That's it. Fry bread and bananas, tortilla rolls, whatever I need, man. A cold day like today.
Ooh.
And then she don't mind if I go to Top Shop every day.
As long as you bring something back,
bring something back. We're good to go.
Bring something back.
I'm trying, that's one thing we're talking about, traveling and relationships and all this and the internet and getting to know new people and all this stuff. I gotta ask Andre. I'm glad to ask, man. Hey, we went to Parker, right? We preface this story with a story. So I went out there a couple years ago. I was like 3 or 4 years ago. Went out to Parker, right? And I realized it then. I was there. I'm a married man with all these kids. I don't get that attention. But I'm there singing, and the boys.
They're like, man, I got to take care of these kids.
You might need a couple extra wives. But no, like my boys were coming into the age where they were like getting my height and stuff like that, and the older boys. And a lot of the young girls were like, really shaking their hand and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh man.
Hey.
And I told some of the moms, I said, hey,
Give them the eyes, huh?
legit, I think like you better watch your boys because in a couple years they're gonna be men and a lot, like they're out there at these gatherings. There's, that's what those gatherings are originally for, anyways. To hook up, kind of,
Those lights only reach so far.
Yeah, get out of the parking lot, stay in their arena, stay.
Just keep going.
So I kind of knew that, and so when we've been traveling around, a couple of guys that are next to me, Andrew and Andre, are both single guys. Andrew's kind of, I don't think he's interested. He's just kind of whatever. But Andre, I don't know if it's because he's got a podcast. I don't know if it's because he's got a clothing line. I don't know if it's because he's got a job, maybe. He has his own car. I don't know what it is.
Prenup, guy, prenup.
But the next thing I know, you go on social media, and here it goes, boy. Man, you got lit up this week.
Oh,
I
man.
got lit up. I don't know.
He's being humble.
49 people following you.
Hey, you actually had that experience though.
Hey, I did. I was telling this guy about it last year. I think it was last year is when we were really going out to these places. And I was telling somebody about this yesterday too. I was like, hey, I swear, every time I go to these places, the next day I got like 5 notifications.
Yeah, your numbers are equal.
Oh, man.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because you're out there somewhere else and you're not their cousin.
That's it. Bro, we know who you really
Yeah, you're related to me.
I'm there for the people.
Hey.
We're just trying to trim down witch people, until we get to person. But yeah, I looked on social media and I saw someone tagged him in talking about, hey, we should go out and have dinner or something. And I was like, oh man.
When you're going to be way out here again.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm going out there. I was like, oh man, if that's what's on the front, what's going on in the inbox? I don't want to know.
Man, public though.
She was letting all her cousins know. Hey, that's my first.
I think you might be owned, man. You might be old school, man. I don't know their
It's like
tradition.
a social media hickey. Hit you up.
Social element.
That's a good one.
I thought he might actually be married already. I don't know. Hey, I don't know their tradition. Hey, if she claims you, it might be.
Blanket thing on.
You were just cold, eh?
No, thank you for the blanket. What does this mean?
Yeah.
You need to get yourself a Velcro braid for her to braid.
Oh, man, yeah.
Just get them right in your hat right there.
Right? Like two braids.
Come in like an
Hey, my brother though. So my brother and I look.
Anthony?
Anthony? No, his
Yeah.
name's not Anthony. No, my brother and I. So we're brothers and whatnot. We're a year apart basically, and I think we look completely different. And
I do too.
Yeah, we look completely different. He used to always say, he said, I got the tradition, he got the looks. But he's got the native look is what he's talking about, because he's got the two braids. I'm like, oh God, this guy's being way too much over here. But my brother doesn't do anything. He just goes to work and doesn't
even sing or nothing.
Doesn't sing. And he used to play Peon all the time growing up, but he's got kids now, but... When
they get a little bit older, because they're real young, he'll be back in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's
Never
walking
leaves you.
around, friggin', I think his user tag is.
Hey, like and follow.
Like and follow, no.
Don't. I think he's taken two, maybe.
Hey,
I don't know.
me too, huh?
It was last week, maybe not next week. Hey, I don't even know. Get him in trouble real quick.
Right,
But times changed since when we were youngsters, man. I mean, now it's like, he's got to pull out a phone and start talking to someone.
Man.
You had to go travel the country, man.
Well, you had to go out there. You had to get up the guts to go
talk to them.
Go talk to them.
Yeah. And you remember walking up
with them a little bit, and then get a pen and get the number, and then you had to call their house.
Oh,
and then their mom or grandma answers, or their dad. And then you gotta be like, hey yo, who's your dad? Who's your family?
This is her father.
Mr. Friend. Hey, I'm a friend. You friend yourself real quick.
Now they see somebody and they don't even gotta talk to them. They're just like, that's their friend. They look them up and get them up real quick.
Get a friend request.
Yeah, friend request.
Hey, dude, my house, like, my wife always jokes about, because she would call and she'd be like, hey, can I talk to Rel? And, we didn't have, like, that's the other thing, kids, they have their own individual phone. Those days you had to call the landline phone. My dad would always answer the same way. He'd be like, hello, get a deep voice.
Yeah.
Hello. And he'd be like, is Rel there? And get him. And that's it. That's all he would say. And she'd say, he always answered that way.
Yeah.
He's a real kind of a quiet guy when it came to that stuff. And she would be like, dude, I'd be so nervous. Like, and it would just get quiet. And then, like, sometimes I'd be in my room, be like, what's going on? Oh, yeah, hold on a sec. I'm terrible at that stuff.
Well, you were
so
lucky.
like 5 minutes.
You were lucky if you were in your room.
That cord was on.
You're in the corner of the living room. Yeah, so what's up, Yeah,
I would be like, I'll talk to you, like, probably
the movies?
later.
Hold on. I gotta ask.
Hey, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you a story. The first time a chick ever asked me for my number, I was in like 5th grade. It was crazy. I was like a little kid. It was like 5th grade, and so I was sitting there like on the way bus, like maybe it was like the last day of school and whatnot. This girl came up to me. She's like, hey, let me get your number. And like I was like a boy. I was like in sports, all that kind of stuff. Wasn't really into that type of the chicks yet. And this girl's all, hey, let me get your number. I was like, all right. And we had like assigned numbers and shit in school. So I like wrote down like that assigned number to like my desk or something. I like signed her yearbook and I put that. And she's like, what is this? I'm like, it's my number. And she's like, no, your phone number. I'm like, oh.
Oh, you want to call me?
Hey, I was like, whoa. So I wrote down my number. This girl would non-stop call me.
Oh, man.
And I was like into fucking video games. Like, I was like, just trying to play video games in my room. My mom, you gotta call. And then I was sitting there like, hello? And I'm like, not interested at the time. And then I was like, hey, Mom, this girl just won't stop talking to me. She's like, tell her I said. I was like, hey, my mom said.
I tell you.
Stop calling her goddamn phone.
Who's that girl playing on my phone?
Oh man.
Yeah, they just don't understand it right now. You know?
Kids these days don't know. Hey, you remember walking around with like a pen clipped on your pants with a little piece of paper to get the number?
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think Josh, you were
Trying
cool though.
to get
Josh had a pager.
Trying to get
Josh was cool. He had the pager. He had two. I don't know if he's doing anything illegal, but I had two. Hey, I never had one. I would just kind of check my pant, like my belt, like I had on. Reality is just my pants are a little baggy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we had to wear our pants baggy in the 90s because you might have a gun in there, you know. Yeah, you and Berto, man, you guys had the pagers. I was so shy, man. I would never muster up the skills to go and talk to a girl like that.
Well, it's the group that you rode with, man. You got people just drop you off right there or set you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like, hey, yo, come here. And then you walk over there and they're like, oh, yeah, here's my boy who wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of on the spot, you know? Like,
Berto and Chemo were good at that kind of stuff, man.
Sink or swim, man.
Yeah.
Sink or swim.
Swim, I like that.
So the thing about Josh too back then is I'm gonna start sharing all these stories. I know John way. Actually, I won't because he'll start saying stuff about me. But what I do remember about Josh way back in those days, is that he really did always have a pad of paper and like nice pens. I'd be drawing like stupid stuff. Josh was an artist. He'd be doing like street art, like graffiti or whatever you want to call it. He was always penning up on stuff. And then, like, you'd see, like, a girl randomly have that in her binder, be like, hey, get easy. I know where that came from.
Working, man, you know? Gotta use what you got, you know?
But that got you pretty far doing that, man. I mean, you got into your art, you know, you've been doing all kinds of stuff with your art.
Yeah, well, you know, like, I was fortunate enough to, you know, I've always enjoyed art and doing it, you know, and just... It was something that I did. Well, I did a lot in school because, you know, I didn't want to do the work. But, but you know, stuck with it and just really enjoyed it. But I was fortunate enough to have people come in my life that kept taking me in that kind of same direction. You know, I was working at a store. I was working for the Gap. I was just doing like whatever. It was my second job ever, you know. So just working in a retail store, and then but I go to powwows. You know, we were always going to powwows, and I was working. I'd go and set my stuff next to a booth, you know, and a clothing line, and this guy, and you know, befriended him and hung out, and you know, just wrapped out with him. He let me keep my stuff there, you know, let me keep my stuff at his booth. And then, you know, he'd got to go eat, so he'd be like, hey, can you watch this for me? And, you know, started this relationship and just helping him out. And then eventually, you know, later on down the line, I was working at this store and he hit me up and, you know, he's like, hey, check it out, you know, I'm going to grow this thing, you know, I'm going to grow this from powwows. I'm going to go bigger. And, like, I want to know if you want to get involved. So from there, you know, I left that job and started working with him and invested a little money into it, and you know, really just like that was kind of my college. I think that was in my early 20s, and that was kind of my college. You know, we started out, you know, just hitting like at the Southwest area here. Started putting out more product, you know, online, like catalog stuff, because we didn't have online. You know, it was still like a new type deal. So got with that, and then eventually, you know, it started flying to other cities, and like it was every other weekend, and
I remember you were going around.
We were doing big shows. We did, you know, we did the Magic Show, which is the show of all shows for clothing. You know, we get there, and it just really blew me away when we got there because we had a really nice booth, and we're not talking like powwow booth status. We're talking like a 40 by 40. Like,
that was the first time I seen a booth at a powwow actually have the logo on top of the shaded part and everything. And I thought, man, this dude's doing it right. Like, he's doing it up.
Yeah. You know,
and then the logos, the designs and stuff were a different level too, because I remember back in those days, now I'm sound real old, but I remember like there'd be like End of the Trail or just some, you know, like generic Indian head or something.
Yeah.
And I felt like when you guys were doing that like that art and everything, it was a whole different level.
Yeah. Well, big ups to Rudy Rojas. You know, the guy is you know, he's phenomenal artist.
Founder of Native Threads is what we're talking about. Yeah, Rudy Rojas.
Now, you know, he's a phenomenal artist. You know, marketing. You know, freaking brain and genius. You know, I mean, the guy knows what to do. You know, he's not just out there delivering like, okay, I want to print shirts to make money. You know, he develops his whole product and his whole stuff around like there's a message. There's a message behind it. You know, promote your native pride. Promote, you know, your culture, your pride in knowing this culture and moving forward. And yeah, his stuff was always next level. And you know, we traveled and did all these things, and we went to this magic show, and we're there, and we're talking like, we pulled in, and our booth was awesome, but you know, I seen the Sean John booth, and it's like
Sean John, old school Pup Daddy stuff.
Sean John, Rockaware, like all these people are there, and we're talking their booth is the size of people's houses.
Oh, I bet.
You know, and this is a booth that they're setting up for 4 days. You know, and it was insane. I just was never even thought about that. So with him, you know, I started with him on the powwow level, then moved into trade shows, then bigger trade shows, a lot of the gaming tribe shows or the National Indian Education conferences and stuff, and really just talking to a lot of people. I mean, like I said, that was like my type of college. Like I went there and I learned, you know, like how to talk to people. It was from standing in a booth talking to people, and then, you know, then all right, hey, let's meet when the show shuts down. Let's go have some dinner, go eat some dinner. You know, just trying to get them interested in what we're doing, and then from there, you know, we'd fly to their res, and it'd be like, okay, suit and tie stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember my very first like pitch. You know, because I went from all the way from doing the booth stuff all the way to like pitching our whole line to people. You know, here I am in a suit sitting in front of like 15 other people in suits. And I remember the first time, you know, I'd rehearsed everything and was like going over it in my head all night, and the next day it was just super nervous. And started going into it, and you know, you just stop talking. You know, you stop talking and you think in your mind, you think it's like minutes are going by. You know, so you're just like, oh, frozen. I remember one of the people there said, hey, just take a break, like take a breath and just keep going. Just keep going. And it was like, all right, because they know what I'm going through, but you know, that was a real booster to me.
Yeah, everybody in business has been there before.
Yeah, in my mind, it was just like, oh, I'm frozen, deer in the headlights, and you know, it was taking forever, you know, but they recognized that, and you know, and pushed me forward, and you know, eventually it got to be real comfortable. You know, so that was like that was awesome. You know, I learned how to deal with people, how to deal with counts, got to see the ins and outs of how a company like that goes, because you know, Rudy's background was like the surf industry. You know, like Rusty, Bad Boy, like all these big major surf companies. You know, and so he brought that, you know, to Indian country, and you know, I really don't see anyone doing it on that level quite yet.
When he was rocking it, it was just Native Thread. Like it was people were trying to do stuff. It was just he was so superior. For a few years there. And there's guys now that are kind of coming up.
Yeah, well, you know, I see it like in, you know, like OXDX, Tail, Stephen Paul Judd. Yeah, you know, and that's the amazing thing about like where we're at today. You know, with like I said, your computer and your phone, like you could make your own brand and get out there. I mean, it's free advertising. You know, normally like you would have to pay. You know, we did 2 or 3 catalogs a year.
Brochure catalogs.
And it was you know, it was like a magazine, but it was definitely a production.
Those are cool though. You guys had like
you got to fly those people there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a 3 or 4 days, you know, like going and shooting and you know, and that's just the shooting part.
You guys are really promoting the people though. Like I remember on Pasonic Quad and my godfather Bobo Galvin was on one of those, and we had all these guys from Powwow Country, and they were just in there. And like I remember the real iconic. They're in the convertible, you know, and they're just cruising down in their powwow gear. the iconic, you still see it through social media.
Yeah.
The teepee with the Christmas lights on it and the horses.
Yeah.
Those are John's horses, by the way,
Yeah.
and the teepee's right here in our front yard. I came home one day, I'm like, what's going on? But he hit up my parents and they were doing that, but I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Really great imagery.
But it was great,
really
man.
Good imagery.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was really just an awesome time and really a good mentor for me. I was just like blown away. Like, all this stuff was fresh, that I was just a kid coming off the res, and here I am, I'm flying over. I remember we go and we ate with some clients and we eat at a really nice restaurant and, they're like, oh, do you want? I'll have the steak. Like, okay, cool, steak, and how do you want it? Me being res kid, I'm like, well done, They're like, no.
You got A1 sauce? And like, what is that?
Yeah, like, what? No. So I'm like, well, I don't know any better,
Yeah.
Never been to a place like this before in my life. But, through all that experience, just it taught me a lot. And, I think that anyone young that wants to do stuff like that should find somebody to follow, or like I said, these days it's really easy. Like you can get on your computer or your phone and follow these people and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
But do it. If you have an idea, just do it. Like
you
gotta try it.
Well, yeah, you gotta try. Yeah, they've got those. They got apps now. Like where like for artists, any artist, if you're a native artist or whatever it may be, if you're an artist, as long as you have your artwork.
Yeah.
They have apps now where you can put your artwork on like a mock T-shirt.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You can put it on that mock
do
T-shirt.
some drop shipping stuff.
Exactly. Drop shipping. Have somebody, when somebody purchases it, they'll order it up and they'll ship it to them.
Yeah, and it's easy. You could do it on your phone and, you just set up an account. And it's not very much to start it, but, you put your design out there and then you promote it through your own page, and it can make everybody can have their own brand, you know. And it's all up to you. The amount of work that you put in is what you're going to get back from it.
Exactly.
And if you make $20, it's $20 you didn't have before.
Well, yeah. Like I said before, with this kind of platform, you're going to a powwow and you're going to see, depending on the size, you're going to see 500 to maybe 1,000 people walking by your booth.
Yeah.
You put it on there, and you put the right hashtags. You put it out there. Then you're talking like tens of thousands of people are going to see it. And, just like catching fish out of a barrel, all right, a big pond, you can be sitting there all day, maybe get 2 or 3, if that, big lake, but you're fishing in a barrel, you take a big old swipe of your net, and you're like, all right, I only got maybe 10% of what's in there. So what's 10% of that? 1,000. 1,000 people, that bought something from me.
That's cool.
So everybody can do it, and, you actually have to do it, because I don't know what this was from, a book I read or something, but it says a well executed plan, or maybe not so good plan, is better than the perfect plan with no execution. So even if everybody waits to be like, oh, like everything's not ready yet. Everything's not ready. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Like, oh, I'm waiting for well, what are you waiting for? Like, throw it out there. And you'll find out. Like,
that's the way to learn failing or
people, especially artists. Artists are their biggest critics. So they do something and they don't like it, so they hold on to it. But you know what? I bet you if they put it out there, people will be like, man, that's badass. Yeah. I want one. And in your own mind, as the artist, you're like, people are not going to like it. You see the flaws.
Yeah.
Everyone else sees great work. So just do it, and then you get feedback. Okay, that's the first edition. My next one, I'm going to change those things that I've seen that I was like, I can change this and it's going to be better. All right, well, round 2. Then more people are going to see it. But, the idea is just to do it.
Yeah.
Just to do it.
I don't know who said it. I don't know where I got it from, but I know they said something along the lines of the worst thing an artist can do is point out what's wrong with the image.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is not going to see it. Or that's not going to be the first thing they see.
Yeah.
You're so fixated on it because that's the one thing that you're
because you're the artist.
You're the artist. You understand
You're the biggest critic.
Maybe you meant to do it, huh?
Yeah, maybe, things like that.
Or they don't notice it. They just think it's part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll think it's part of it. So they say the worst part of it is, pointing out. Don't tell somebody else.
Yeah.
Let them make their own judgments on it, Don't give them a reason to dislike it.
One thing I really liked about Rudy's work, and I see it shine through with you, and And I even seen in your work too, not that you worked with them like that, with your Fit Indian, but is that there's something bigger than, like you were saying, you're not just selling shirts, there's a message.
Yeah.
You know, and as Native peoples, you know, coming from an academic background, like teaching, it's always about trying to get our perspective out there, our voice, our stories, our, you know, and you see it in the books, you see it in the media, you know, but, you know, when you get into like clothing, you get into art, like, where's our art? You know, where's the images that capture what our culture area is or what our story is? And I felt like when Rudy was going out there and doing that initially, especially, like, people hadn't seen that before. They haven't seen a real, organic, genuine, like, this is our, you know, because he used to come up and sweat with us, and he, you know, you could see it come out in his artwork where it was deep. It was spiritual. It wasn't just about selling a shirt. And I don't think it was ever about selling a shirt. Yeah. I think he was really trying to promote our culture and
putting a message.
Put a message out there. And I see that stuff shine through with your work also. Like, there's always a message, a deeper meaning. You know, it has a purpose, a true purpose. Like, I know with Fit Indian, your clothing line and the things you're doing, it's like, that's a huge purpose, to try to make our people healthy, to try to let's endorse these people who are working out in different reservations. Let's promote them. You know, we're dealing with diabetes and high blood pressure and heart, all of these issues. You know, why are we not putting it on a shirt, or why are we not putting it into our art? Why are we not showing, you know, that old image of like an Indian out in the whatever landscape? I'm not, you know, is that us right now? You know, the issues that we're dealing with, you know, like we're talking about the poverty or the health, all of that, that is what we're dealing with now. That should be what our art reflects, our true spirituality. And not from some designer, from, you know, who didn't grow up in our culture or anything around it, but from our own people. That's why what you're saying, I think what you guys are saying is so powerful. Somebody out there in some res, Arizona, New Mexico, Montana, wherever you're at, you know, you're out there and you don't see a shirt that's showing your culture area, showing what your grandma taught you, showing what your res life is like, something that isn't showing your way of talking. Maybe put that on a shirt, let your homies rep it, you know, and blast that. Put it on social media, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know who's going to pick it up. Everyone's going to pick it up.
That's why I'm making shirts this season. It's going to say all rezzed out. Sometimes you got to be that, you know what I mean? All rezzed out. I'm going to have my shirt, and people are like, yeah, that dude can't be all rezzed out sometime.
Well, I like your Fit Indian, you know, that's good because, you know, for so long, you know, we're people that roamed, you know, initially, and, you know, we're healthy. We're healthy people because, you know, you had to be. Of course to be, you know. Things weren't at the store. I mean, you can't just sit around and eat all day. You had to go get it. You know, and you ate
pre-contact abs.
And you ate everything that was from the earth given to you. You know, and so you know, with our society today, you know, it's so easy to go just grab something and you know, you're sitting at that desk job and you know doing all this stuff, you know, and you know, you need to get back out there. Your body's meant to move, you know? I mean, it's meant to be in motion.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And I have this bracelet that I wear every day, and then I give them out. I give them out to anybody who asks for them. But for me, it's a constant reminder. And what it says on it is, I am, and it says, a Fit Indian. And you don't have to, like, I definitely wasn't one a year or two ago. I was about 300 pounds. And it took me a whole year to get it off. And I'm still going down. I'm like, 80 pounds down basically. But it's a constant reminder for me that just, hey, I am what I'm.
Well, that's what it is. You know? It's the power. It's the power of your mind. If you tell yourself that you're going to be successful at it, then your subconscious is already going to know, like. If you've already accepted it and told yourself this is what I am, and that's what you are. I heard it somewhere that, you know, someone was like, you know, like if you got knocked out and you were in a coma, and you woke up and you had no recollection of your life before, and someone told you, yeah, you're an astronaut. What would you do? What would you do? You would walk around and you would be an astronaut. You wouldn't be like, oh, I'm an astronaut. I was an astronaut before. All right. So you would act like that. So it goes with anything, you know. You want to be fit, you wake up and say, I am fit, you know, or I am this, you know, I'm successful. And, you know, it's all, the mind is just such a powerful
it
tool.
really is.
You know, we're so distracted by everything. And
Well, we're so distracted about outside people, outside things that are just things that we cannot control. You can control yourself and your actions and what you do most of the time. And I don't know who said this quote, but this is something I always say to myself as well. Is now I'm gonna forget it.
That's how it works.
I'm gonna start writing down your sentence so what I say I'm not gonna say.
But it says those who say they can and those who say they cannot are both usually right.
Yeah.
Meaning that, hey, if you say you can't do something, you're never going to be able to do it. Yeah. If you say you can do it, well, you're going to put yourself in that position to do that, and you have to just put yourself in those positions to do that. You can't, the first step, I believe, is to say things you can do it. Especially for me working out, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. There's no other thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to not do it.
You can't put that doubt in your mind.
Yeah, there's no doubt in it.
Well, I think that's the thing. We defeat ourselves even before we get going.
Before we do anything.
That might be that reservation mindedness, though. If you put it in the situation we were, all that traumatic history, and waiting for somebody to come drop commods off, means that we're going to wait for somebody to come bring us our solutions, when it's like, nah, you need to rise up like your ancestors did, which is our true teachings, and you need to go make it for yourself. You need that's the one thing I've learned from Andre was that I used to be really fit, a couple weeks there, but I did let myself go quite a bit, and it was kind of like the recognition that I'm not going to be what I was at that time or whatever, but it's a journey. It's part of the journey. If you're just going to go out and walk to the end of the block and back, it's better than sitting there. That's all you have. You don't have no gym around, but walk up to the mountain, go do a hike, or if you don't have weights, work your shoulders with cans of beans or whatever, and do jail workouts if you have to or whatever it is, but it really is like a journey, it's the journey of it all.
Yeah, it's all about getting started and telling yourself that this is what I am and this is what I'm gonna do, I mean, you're gonna live what you think you are, what your own image, what your own perception is of yourself.
Exactly.
If you wake up and you have that perception of that I'm a professional, you're going to wake up and you're going to act like a professional. You're going to wake up, you're going to get ready for your day, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm a professional at what I do, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's completely true. And they said the same thing. I'm going to bring it back to fitness because that's just things that I think about all the time. Is they talk about so people have this threshold or whatever that they put in themselves, they self-impose on themselves. Like, if I see a chocolate cake, I cannot not eat it.
Yeah,
you put that.
That's me. That was me for a while.
You programmed yourself.
Terrible.
You literally programmed yourself to that. You think that you cannot not eat that? Everybody cannot not eat that. But you have programmed yourself to doing that, and you could do the exact same thing the other way. You can program yourself to be a better person, to be whatever you want to be. I used to tell my cousin, I can live, if I wanted to be a doctor, I would go out and be a doctor if I wanted to, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to have that mentality in life, especially as us natives, because we've seen, we should know the history that our people went through and where we're at now, and we have people, reservations who have insane, businesses and things like that. They've understood it. They've gone past that. But now as an individual, you have to do the exact same thing in order for you to grow as a person. And, somebody said, I think it was Gary Vee said it. He said, if someone looks just like you and is doing the things that you want to do, you have no excuse not to do them.
Yeah. My dad used to say stuff like that. There was a time when he was getting into the fire business, he's retired now, which for his generation to retire from a state job, as a firefighter, that was a big deal. He worked in that industry a long time, but there was a time where he didn't have a car, and so he would walk 5 miles uphill, literally up to Descanso, and he'd be up there, or he'd walk to the freeway and someone would give him a ride to work, and then he'd get there and have to do PTs. They have to do their physical training when he got there, and he used to always tell me, don't make excuses, And towards the end of his career, he had a bad heart attack, and he would get up every morning and he would drive to Hemet and work and then come back. And I never really thought about that. He did that 2 years. And holy smokes, that's like a 3-hour drive. He did it every day. So he could finish out his career and retire the way he had planned originally. But it's just really that attitude that you're not going to let boundaries set that normal life where you're going to do what you're going to want to do. Like you said, you want to do it, then go do it. And success makes more success, man. That's something we all got.
Tiny things.
Can't defeat it. And tiny things could be huge things. This is something that I had to change in myself. Was I was one of those dudes that'd be like, size medium. No, but give me an Indian size shirt. You know, I want a size 2X or 3X. You know, so you have to kind of change that kind of stuff. And I think we'll take a quick break.
All right, yeah, we'll take a break after that. Come back, maybe finish it up.
Indian size break, extra large.
Extra large.
Yeah. All right, and we're back live on the res. I had to go out and change my Indian size shirt as we were talking about clothing. I was saying, hey man, back in the day, you know, I used to say, you know, the small sizes were the non-Indian size, big sizes were the Indian size, and you know, who's gonna eat that food? You know, that's not Indian size meal and all that stuff.
I remember when I was doing it on powwows a lot and stuff, and I go places and you know, people are like, "Oh, you got 5X?" Like, yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, we do.
They don't realize that costs extra money.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have them.
Yeah,
but we have them. You know, you know, you can't find that in stores nowhere. You know? Extra larges are like mediums, really, you know, they're not Indian size.
Really everybody out there, if you're wearing a 5X, it's okay too. We're not trying to hate on you. We're just saying that the times have changed a little bit, you know. But talking about purpose, you know, not just about making shirts and selling them, but putting purpose in what you're trying to put out there, you know, put purpose and have a bigger picture, a bigger voice in what you're saying, you know. Yeah. And whether it's, you know, Fit Indian or your branding that you've been doing over the years.
You know,
tell us about that, man. What do you got going?
I'm involved with Smoke Signals Clothing now, and have been for a little bit. You know, it's just we're building and you know, just it's just, you know, build until it's recognized everywhere.
Absolutely. Every time Josh rolls in, if I'm on the mic MCing, I'm always like, Smoke Signals in the house. Because, I mean, you know, it's just legit. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, and our message behind there is like the same thing, you know, just trying to move the Native people forward and show that pride and do it with beauty and honor your culture and your people and honor your ancestors that, you know, that, like we were talking before, have suffered so much to get us here. Yeah. Because really, you know, I mean, without them, if they gave up, you know, we wouldn't be here. You know, we wouldn't be here as we are now because they endured things that we could not even, you know, imagine.
Somebody asked me, like, can you come speak to some kids or said something like that, and I said back to them something along the lines of like, yeah, we have to keep, you know, encouraging our youth and helping to build them so that they can make a future that our ancestors suffered for. Yeah. And I said that, I was like, did I just say that? Or is that like a quote I stole? Because it just sounded like but it was so true, you know, like that must have came straight from the heart or something, but that what you're talking about is just that, man. Like,
yeah, we owe it to
them. Time.
We owe it to them, you know, and we're fortunate enough now, you know, you know, I mean, of course there's still racism out there, people who still don't understand, but, you know, like you hit on the head earlier with, you know, even in your career, you know, like to teach people, because honestly, there's a lot of people out there that have no idea. It's not taught in the school. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people. You would be super surprised how many people don't know that there's natives still in existence. Yeah. They think that it's a myth. You know, it's because it's been portrayed that way. It's like you know, we've been portrayed as they used to be here a while ago. You know, they're not here no more. So you got kind of that mystique behind it, and people always like, you know, like the wolves on the T-shirt, and you know, they have this stereotypical idea because that was what's put out there.
The Napoleon Dynamite shirts.
Yeah, when exactly, you know, when our cultures are so diverse, you know. I remember as a kid, you know, going to school and. They'd be like, oh, because I had long hair, and I didn't go to school around here where there was a res. You know, I went to school in the city, and they were, you know, I'd get teased a lot. Oh yeah, you're Indian. Well, where's your buffalo? Where's your teepee at? And just be like, of course they're kids, but they learned that from somewhere. Yeah. You know, so people just don't know. Yeah. You know, and I think it's up to us to educate. So first you have to educate yourself. You know, you have to educate yourself in your own culture and your own history, you know, not the stuff that you've been taught or told, but you got to educate yourself first so then that you can go on and educate others. Because there's a lot of people out there that are willing to listen. They just don't know. Yeah. They don't know the history. They don't know all the atrocities that, you know, Native Americans have suffered. You know, they just know a little bit, you know, in their minds. Oh, it was only a little bit, only happened, you know, they didn't realize that there's all these mass genocide going on throughout the Americas and how the population was so huge and knocked down 98%, you know, of the people were gone, you know. So with that, a lot of culture is gone. So
And then all their heroes, like they start throwing heroes at you, and you're going like, yeah, this guy did this guy did that.
Yeah.
They don't see that.
Yeah, and I think there's a big resurgence right now, and it's good, and it's great, and so there's all these avenues people are taking, through clothing lines, through music, through like you guys are doing right here with the podcast, like educate yourself so that you can educate other people, because there's people out there that are willing to listen, and they'll have, like I didn't know that, they're completely ignorant to the fact, because who's there to tell them?
Yeah.
They only go by what they learn in school, see on TV, what they see in movies.
And see, that's something I really admire about you over the years, is that, like, Josh has always been known as the cool guy, like really cool, get along with people well. I remember, like, you're living by the beach down there, and to me, like, the beach was like, oh, that's like white man land, like, that's far from the res, but no, that's our indigenous land too.
Yeah.
We were living down there, and I remember going down there and going like, man, that's pretty cool. But, just really having a positive vibe of trying to educate some of those guys that are, that could be allies to us, as opposed to always being like, oh, I remember I was in like 5th grade and some kid called me Pocahontas. I just punched him in the face, man.
Yeah.
I was angry at the time, but it was that's not always the approach. Sometimes it's cool just to educate and enlighten.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta take the high road or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, you don't back down either. We're warriors, and that's why we're still here too.
May not look like it right now.
Hey.
But we are.
But like I said, like education of yourself and your culture and the actual history.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you can educate people. It reminded me of a couple years ago, Standing Rock was going on, and the only way that was covered was through social media.
Yeah.
And that was a big like eye opener to me, to be like, how is something so massive going on, but it's not on the news?
Yeah.
It's okay, because the news is not for us. The news, they want you to see what they want you to see, and it's not that they don't want to see, because people will be like, what? There's Indians out there, and they're they're on their land, and they're doing, because they know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. And so.
Yeah.
So that was a big wake-up call to me, and like I was speaking to people I knew at work, and people around me, and they'd be like, "What's that?" Or, I'd post stuff, and they'd be like, "Well, what is this? I didn't even know this was going on." It's like, yeah, okay, well, no one does know what's going on, because it's being held back. So it's up to us to bring it to the light, for people, like all the injustices, and like right now, missing and murdered Indigenous women, like it's a huge problem, and there's all these issues going on that people, don't know. So it's up to us and your own communities to know that, to bring it out, because there's people that will listen. There's people, they're human, and they're compassionate, and you can't just assume because of their race or their class or whatever they because they're different, they're not in your area or whatever, that they're against you. It's maybe just because they're ignorant to what is actually going on.
Yeah,
absolutely. Behind the curtain, they don't know. But once they know, they're like, whoa, that's messed up. Well, what do we do?
They'll be there right
what do we do to help, So.
And I think that's what our teachings tell us too, is, treat each other with respect, let it go full circle, be there to try to help and things like that. That's an important message though, man.
Yeah.
I think you're doing good work, Where can people find your stuff, man?
Like I said,
what's coming up?
I'm with Smoke Signals.
Smoke Signals.
Right now, always promoting it, always pushing it.
All right.
If you want some of that awesome artwork, that Rudy Rojas artwork, go to nativecultureshop.com. It's Smoke Signals clothing. But Native Culture Shop, you can be on Instagram, Facebook.
We'll put
check it out.
We'll put the links.
Yeah, put the links up and check that out. Awesome work. Also, I'm gonna be dropping lines soon here. It's gonna be Native Bloodline. It's for it's for everybody. All us natives, because if you got that blood running through you, you should be proud. You should be a messenger for your people. You should take advantage. Take advantage of. And take pride in what you are. You're from
absolutely.
This is your homeland. And
I beat some of those clothes, man. It looked good. Some of your stuff looks good.
Yeah, thank you. And
coming soon.
It looks good. Coming soon. Like that. Was it 23andMe and all these kind of things too? Even like there's people like, man, I didn't realize I was like 10, 20%, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, so go and research your family a little bit, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, you have, what did Black Elk say? You have that one drop of blood in you, you know, you're tied to this land too in some way. So
Yeah.
respect it, treat it right, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Have
you
respect
know,
for
and
it.
that could change people's ways.
Yeah.
They didn't know it. Now they
Yeah.
know. They're like, oh wow, like now I feel I have a responsibility to take care of this earth, take care of this land, and you know my people. You know, so you know it's a message, and I think it's growing right now. You know, it's really growing. So you know, everyone just needs to jump on and put themselves into it, and you know, just to move as a indigenous nation.
There you go, man. There you have it, man. Indigenous nation, you know, it's going to be the indigenous philosophy that's going to save us all, you know?
Yeah.
If anything, is probably.
Yeah, get back to the indigenous ways where you know everything we're living a sustainable life.
Yeah. Well, man, we thank you for coming in today, Josh.
Yeah,
We're gonna
for
bring
sure.
you in another time, one of these days, man.
Yeah,
I can sit here and talk to you.
know?
Our old way, all night, talk
Hey,
and
all right,
sing
all right.
and all these kind of things. But
Yeah.
before we go, we always do a couple things here.
All right.
My man Dre over here's got his set. Now this is gonna be hard this week because usually we have people here who don't even know what Peon is. They don't know our ancient hand game. But now we actually have a real player. I should come sit by you. We used to be.
Man, I hope I get it, man.
Back in the day, Josh is good at hiding, man. We got his knees dancing around and stuff, boy. Now I have to do that for my team. Those guys want to move.
That's what you get when you get an older team. And you're the young guy.
You know what you get is you get knees that look like this microphone all around your head, man. Dark knees.
Well, I think your knees look like that anyway.
That's my elbows. That's why it calls two dark Indians, boy. Two dark natives. No. So he's wrapping them up.
Right here without lotion, huh?
Dang. Where's that bear grease?
All right.
All right.
All right, we're going left, we're going right, man. Push it down.
Right.
Let's go.
Waiting for the white one. The white ball.
That's right. Here we go.
He's going to the right. Tadalo. To the right. And does he got him?
Oh,
Boom! Missed him. Taking it back to what we used to play on. We used to always lose.
Well, I always let that one person lose. Let them think they got me.
All right, y'all. Have a good night, everybody. In your womb. We're out, man.
All right. Thank you.
Out.